Euthanasia is an important issue in the world of the medical field. It has been legalized in only 3 countries and 1 state throughout the past hundreds of years. There are euthanasia activists who are trying to make it legal in the United States. Euthanasia should not be legalized in the United States due to the simple fact that no one knows when a person will actually die. What is euthanasia? Euthanasia does not have just one definition. It can be described in 7 different ways with 7 different names. The first is euthanasia. It is the intentional killing by act or omission of a dependent human being for his or her alleged benefit. The second, voluntary euthanasia, is when the person who is killed has requested to be killed. Non-voluntary euthanasia is when the person who is killed made no request and gave no consent. Involuntary euthanasia is when the person who is killed made an express wish to the contrary. You then have assisted suicide. This is when someone provides an individual with the information, guidance, and means to take his or her own life with the intention that they will be used a certain purpose, preferably by a doctor. Euthanasia by action is intentionally causing a person's death and performing an action such as by giving a lethal injection. Euthanasia by omission, which is intentionally causing death by not providing necessary and ordinary care of food and water. Euthanasia is legal in Oregon, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg. Now that you know what euthanasia is, I would like to explain to you why the United States should not legalize euthanasia. My first argument, euthanasia would not only be for people who are terminally ill. Terminally ill is such a vague word. According to National Press Club in 1992, Jack Curvin said that terminal illness is any disease that curtails life for one day. Co-founder of Hemlock Society refers to it as old age, and some laws define it as relatively short time with death expected 6 months or less. If you take all of these definitions into consideration, and the fact that these people who be considered hopelessly ill, then more than half of the world would die right now. My second argument, euthanasia can become a means of health cost containment. In the medical field, an issue that is always up in the air is how to contain costs. For those who don't know, there are millions of Americans who have no insurance or very cheap insurance that doesn't offer much coverage. It is true when they say no insurance or bad insurance means no adequate care. I also agree that you didn't know that I also guarantee that you didn't know that managed care facilities offer physicians cash bonuses to not provide care for patients. If legalized, the facilities and doctors who try to lead a person into the direction of death to help save money. Also, euthanasia will become non-voluntary. Some people argue that it will always be voluntary. It is stated that euthanasia will always be a voluntary decision. When you analyze the situation, emotionally and psychological pressures could become overpowering for depressed and dependent people. If euthanasia was to be legalized, it would looked by people as another form of good. It would be looked by people as another form of good treatment that should be used. With that being said, people would probably feel guilty for not choosing death. The most important aspect of a patient using a non-voluntary excuse to use euthanasia would be for financial problems. Everyone is not blessed with good insurance and lots of money, and because of these you are left, and because of these you do not want to leave a burden on yourself or your loved ones, which would make a patient request euthanasia. My last argument: euthanasia is a rejection of the importance and value of human life. People who support euthanasia often say it is already considered okay and normal to take human life when it comes to self-defense. Self-defense is a subject that is greatly compared to euthanasia. But what people fail to realize is that euthanasia is not the willing of saving someone's life. It is only taking a person's life. In a brief, the AMA stated, there is, in short, compelling evidence of the need to ensure that all patients have access to quality palliative care, but not of any need for physician-assisted suicide. The AMA is keenly aware that doctors perform a crucial act of healing and saving lives. Accepting a dual role of taking life while at the same time protecting life would undermine their credibility and the sacrificed trust that exists between a patient and a doctor. In conclusion, history has taught us the dangers of euthanasia, and that is why there are only 2 countries in the world and 1 state where it is legal. That is also why almost all societies, even non-religious ones of thousands of years, have made euthanasia a crime. According to Margaret Mead, an anthropologist, this is a precious possession which we cannot afford to tarnish, but society always is attempting to make the physician into a killer to kill the defective child at birth, to leaving the sleeping pills beside the bed of a cancer patient. It is the duty of society to protect the physicians from such requests. Thank you, and are there any questions?